What's up, everybody? So, one of the things I really like doing is making up Space Marine chapters, and I really want to collect a DIY Space Marine chapter. And I want to do it for the Dark Angels Codex, being a Unforgiven chapter, being a Dark Angel successor, essentially. And I've done that. I've thought it up. I got a name. I got fluff and inspiration and everything. And I'm going to go over that quick-ish for you to kind of set the overtone and set the concept of this chapter up, and also kind of share the thought process because that might help somebody. But ultimately, because I need help, I need some input from you all, and that is for a color scheme. I utilize Bolter and Chainsword's Army Painter for Space Marines to kind of do some tests. I mean, it's not going to be one-to-one. It's not going to look exactly like that when I go to paint. I know that, but it's a really nice way to kind of set up before putting paint to model. That way you don't have to worry about potentially approaching a disaster, right? You can see it through the Army Painter. And these two different color schemes I do enjoy, and that's where I need help with input. Any tips, for example, for one color scheme in particular, and also which one you think fits better. And that's why I want to go through this ramble, kind of giving you the setup of this DIY Space Marine chapter, because knowing the setup behind it can help with that input. And I do need this assistance because I'm at the fork in the road, and I don't know which one would be better, and some input on that would really be helpful. So first up is a Dark Angel successor chapter, and they're called the Angels of Judgment. Because it sounded cool, and it's not taken by an official GW chapter as of yet. And what really got me thinking about this is the Angels from the Diablo universe and the Hellguard from Darksiders franchise, and or universe, whatever you want to call it. And with that, the idea of representing, a bit of an arcane, secretive, mysterious chapter, along with the taciturn, stoic way that Dark Angels and their successors are, but also have them really embrace the concept of being the Emperor's Angels of Death, and through that, they are the Angels of Judgment, embracing that angelic motif. And it's, in a way, kind of the anti-Chaos Space Marine visually. Loyalist Space Marines, which they will be one of, are obviously the opposite of Chaos Space Marines visually, of course. But where Chaos Space Marines are full-on chaos, spikes, and corruption, and taint and mutation, and just being evil and devious and demonic looking, and just full-on war crime looking in a sense, and all that. The way that the Chaos Space Marines look, which is cool. It's not really for me, but it's still cool to see really done that way. Even the Rubric Marines have a bit of a look like that. It got me thinking, well, why not have a Space Marine chapter that is embracing the whole angelic motif, not like the Blood Angels do, but being the Emperor's chosen, the Emperor's Angels of Death, and embracing the whole righteousness behind it, and that cold fury of judgment. And that's where the Angels of Judgment name came from a bit, and that's where the whole concept got the ball rolling. And with the Angiris Council from Diablo, I really enjoyed kind of the angelic ruins from the Diablo universe and the Darksiders universe. I really like the look of Ethereal, the Archangel of Fate, the most of the Angiris Council, but Tyrell's really cool. Imperius is awesome. They're all cool. Hadriel is one of my favorites, and he's just in Diablo 2 in one area only. And I really enjoy the look of the Hellguard forces on Darksiders. So I thought, well, that's cool inspiration I can take from both, in terms of maybe some color cues, and if not so much that, the idea of arcane ruins. And that game with the idea of having the Force, kitted out in terms of having what I'm calling, just for fun, fluffy name stuff, Ruins Angelus. Angelic ruins and arcane circle stuff, hexagrammic warding essentially on their armor, kind of akin to how the Exorcists are doing it, and how the Prayer 2000 Suns did it, and even the idea of how the Guardians of the Covenant have scripture and writing on their armor, and so do the Black Templars and all that. Well, embracing that concept along the side of the arcane circle, hexagrammic warding type stuff, and having that specifically angelic ruin, hexagrammic ward arcane circle business on Space Marine power armor, Terminator armor, and vehicles. And veterans having full-on arcane circles and just having it really look mysterious, look arcane, but not look chaosy, not look demonic, look righteous in a sense. Because I thought that'd be a cool look. And this is all because I like the concept. This is not because I think it's the best concept ever. It's a concept I enjoy, and you gotta do what you enjoy. So that's the concept behind this chapter. And with that, of course, being an Unforgiven successor and dealing with the Fallen, having the inner circle, and the close-knit nature of the Unforgiven is also going to be a part of that, obviously. But with that, I went onto the Bolter and Chainsword Army Painter for Space Marines to kind of test the waters a bit in terms of some color concepts. And I'm stuck on two, and I don't know which one would be this concept better, because I'm not looking for in-your-face purity, righteousness, holiness in terms of color palette. What I'm looking to do is embrace the taciturn, stoic, monastic nature of the Dark Angels gene seed, those Dark Angel and their successors, and the concept of being the Emperor's chosen and the Emperor's angels of death. You know, and with that said, I'm on two color schemes. The first one here is black armored, and I think, you know, aside from it being easy to paint for me, it fits in with the color palette that the Unforgiven currently possesses. All the official chapters of the Unforgiven currently possess, and it's utilizing copper accenting in terms of the chest emblem, the weapon itself, because I think it looks cool that way also, and in this case, if it was to happen this way, it would definitely keep the copper trim on the shoulder pads to further differentiate it from the Consecrators and the Angels of Vengeance. And robes, because you gotta have robes, those that would have robes, it would be green robes, because I kind of have an idea of how to do that already with the Deathwing, utilizing it, and it's not a color utilized that much, and it would further tie it in color palette wise to the Unforgiven. And with this, I would have to make use of white markings or a light blue that would show up on black. You know, so I guess however they make it to make it so it would show up on black armor. But those two colors would be useful in terms of the symbol, which would be the same no matter what color palette I'm using. And for the arcane ruins and the hexagram warding and arcane circles and all that, would have to be in white or blue that would show up on black, like a brighter blue. But that could look pretty cool. The other color scheme that I also like is the same thing but in white. White armor, copper chest emblem, copper weapon, and maybe copper trim. I put it up here just because that's how I was looking at it. But I'm thinking about it, and I could also, to make it easier on myself, not have the copper trim, because that can look pretty good too. The copper trim was really there as a concept, but it doesn't have to be there on the white armor. It's just here on this picture. So maybe no copper trim with the white armor. And in this case, again, blue would show up very nicely in terms of transfers and decals and all that. And black can work on white armor because it's white armor. And their robes would be black in this case, because I think it would be a nice contrasting color. And black robes are only utilized in the Angels of Vengeance currently, so this would be another Unforgiven that could have black robes. The problem here is white armor. I have some concepts and some ideas to test the waters with white armor, to get it to be more silky smooth and not have a chalky finish, as it tends to do when I paint white. I'm also looking at mixing it with like a nice bright silver to see if I can get something going on that way with the white. But my biggest hiccup here is that it's white armor. White is kind of bland, but it's a nice backdrop for doing these arcane circles and ruins and all that on the armor. Also, either decals or freehanding it very carefully. White will have the ability to allow a brighter blue show up very vibrant and very obviously, but black will let white show up very nicely also. So it's not like white is super better than black for doing this concept. It's just that it's a different way of doing it. So and like I said, black robes here, and I'm utilizing copper because gold and silver and even bronze is utilized a lot already, and they all look great, but I'm also a big fan of copper as a color, and the liquid copper paint from Vallejo that I have, I really like and want to make more use of. And it works better as trim as opposed to a bulk color, the copper, in my opinion, for the most part with things. So that's why I'm thinking about it this way also. But that's my concept here. It's something that I want to do, and I want to get to start painting up some models, but I don't know which way necessarily might be a better way of doing it. Now, as far as the chapter symbol goes, I haven't 100% figured out what I want to do there, but one of the things I really like to do is take the Legion Destroyer symbol and use that as the chapter symbol on both shoulder pads instead of having tactical or squad markings. But the problem with that is they don't sell a decal sheet that has a lot of Destroyer symbols on it. So I gotta figure out a way to have that happen, if at all. But anyways, that's the current concept, and any feedback or ideas would be much appreciated for this concept. Like I said, I don't really know which way would be the best ideal way to go in this situation, and any input would be appreciated. And in particular with the white armor, if you feel that's the best way to go, would mixing it with silver produce a cool concept, or would it just be utter garbage? And should I just stick with figuring out ways to make it look and layer it nicely and to get that smooth, non-chalky finish? I don't know. But that's the Angel of Judgment. It's a chapter I want to create. The concept behind it is having the Ruins Angelus, as I call it, to give it more of an arcane type of look to it. And I'm looking to either go with black armor, as I mentioned, or the white armor. I just don't know which one would fit better, and that's really the input I need. So thanks for, if you made it through this far, thanks for sticking through it. Feel free to post in the comments which color scheme you feel would fit better for the idea of the Angels of Judgment. And that's really it. So until next time, take it easy.